With less than 24 hours until the Book of Boba Fett comes, I've decided to answer the one big question that we've all had since we first saw Boba Fett appear in Chapter 14 of The Mandalorian. How did Boba Fett survive, and what did he do soon after he got out of the Sarlacc pit? Because let me remind you, this takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and I don't think he was stuck on the Sarlacc for 5 years. I believe that he may have been doing something in that 5 years when he may have been out before we saw him in The Mandalorian. So that's exactly what I'm going to be answering in this video. Remember, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 50 subs. I'd really like to hit that before the end of the year, so just at least check if you're subscribed or not. Anyways, let's get right into it. So basically, Boba Fett first appeared in Chapter 14, The Tragedy, and we saw him wearing some Tusken Raider clothes. We now know that with previous Book of Boba Fett's trailers, we now know there's going to be a whole episode devoted to the return of Boba Fett. We do not know if that's going to be the first or second episode. I believe that it could be the first episode to kind of give us some backstory and finally answer the question just to kind of solidify it, or they could do the first episode is an actual episode, and then the second episode they try to pull a flashback. I don't know how it's going to work, but it will most likely be first or second episode. So Boba Fett, once he was in the Sarlacc pit, we do not know how he got out. Now, in the legend, we know that in legend, he was in the Sarlacc pit for I don't know how many years, but it was his Beskar armor that was able to protect him from the acidic stomach of the Sarlacc. Now, remember, it takes 1,000 years for somebody to get digested in the Sarlacc, so he clearly had a lot of time. After that, he finally got out somehow, I believe using his malfunctioning jetpack, because as we know, when Han kind of hit his jetpack with the stick in the famous scene where he was blind, he said, Boba Fett, where? And that was his death. So when he hit him with his malfunctioning jetpack, and I think his wrist rocket, he kind of shot the Sarlacc a little bit, and then was able to jetpack up. His armor was then scavenged up by Jawas, as we saw in the Star Wars canon, and then I believe was found by Cobb Vanth back on Tatooine, as we saw in the thing. And then that was in the book, I believe, Star Wars Aftermath, which it tells the aftermath of what happened after the Battle of Endor and how the New Republic slowly formed. So that was slightly retconned in the Star Wars canon, because here's as we know what most probably happened. Most probably happened is he was stuck in the Sarlacc for about 3 years, I'd say, maybe a little less. I doubt it was more than that, because I think that he was on Tatooine for a little bit looking for his armor, but I don't think it would take him like 5 years to find his armor, because Tatooine's a small place. There's only like 3 towns on Tatooine: Mos Espa, Mos Eisley, and then Mos Pelgo. So I don't think it would have taken him that long to find his armor. So I believe that he was in the Sarlacc for about 3 years, and then maybe it took him 2 years to go find his armor, or maybe a little less. I don't know. He maybe checked a lot of places, but he clearly was doing some other stuff besides that. But we will get all these questions answered. So once escaping, utilizing either his jetpack and his wrist rockets to find out, he then dropped his armor, or his armor was so badly damaged that he just scavenged it. Or possibly what could have happened is that the Krayt Dragon could have eaten the Sarlacc, because as we know in the Mandalorian Season 2, the Krayt Dragon's home was an old Sarlacc pit. We do not know what happened to that Sarlacc, so as we believe, it could have been that the Krayt Dragon ate the Sarlacc, spit Boba Fett out because he didn't taste good, and then his armor got scavenged off him, or maybe his armor fell off, and then he was just a simple man just trying to make his way through the galaxy, trying to go find his armor back. So we do not know exactly what happened, but one of the theories is that the Sarlacc was either eaten by the Krayt Dragon, or he was simply just spit out. So then what happened is the Jawas scavenged his armor, and now Boba Fett, not knowing what to do, must have made a deal with the Sand People, because we know that he is wearing some Sand People clothes, and he has a Gafati stick. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but a Grafati stick or a Gafati stick. I don't know, but those are basically the sticks that the Tusken Raiders used. They were also used to try to kill Luke in A New Hope, which is when we first saw them. So he was wearing some Tusken Raider choir. He also had one of those guns. So then after, he most likely went with Fennec Shand, because in the trailers we see Boba Fett wearing his Sand People item, and then he seems to be teaming up with Fennec Shand. So I believe that Boba Fett previously knew Fennec Shand before finding her in the Mandalorian Season 2, or what possibly happened is that Boba Fett, once he got out of the Sarlacc pit, he met Fennec Shand, who is dead, got her out, revived her, and then he searched for a Slave One, because we do not know if he previously knew Fennec Shand, or if this was their first encounter. So it was most likely their first encounter. So after meeting them, he probably knew her because she was very famous, especially since she had a bounty on her head, revived her, and then his basically main plan was right now to go find Slave One, because we know in the trailers, we've seen multiple trailers, when he's in his Tusken Raider choir, he's looking for Slave One. So I believe that after coming out of that terrible Great Pit of Cancun, then his plan was to search for Slave One. Now, after finding Slave One, what he most likely tried to do was search around the different cities to find his armor. He most likely searched in Mos Eisley or Mos Espa first, because those are the two most famous cities. And then after he went to Mos Pelgo finally and kind of knew that Cobb Vanth had it, because we know that he knew that Cobb Vanth had the armor. I'm guessing that maybe he confronted Cobb Vanth a couple times. I don't understand why he wouldn't just take the armor from Cobb Vanth. I mean, sure, he probably just didn't want to fight Cobb Vanth because he has the armor and he doesn't. But we know that he was aware that Cobb Vanth had the armor, and then he was just waiting for somebody else to take the armor from Cobb Vanth so that he can take the armor from Din Djarin. I know this is getting really complicated, but I believe that he just didn't want to make his move yet. He knew that Cobb Vanth had the armor. He just was not prepared to make his move yet, because he even mentioned, this is my armor that you got from Cobb Vanth back on Tatooine. He even says that. So he was clearly aware that Cobb Vanth had the armor, but wasn't prepared to go get it. Then when Din Djarin finally took the armor from him, he now had his opening to go take the armor. So that's basically the complete timeline that we think as what Boba Fett did after he was out of the Sarlacc pit. Obviously, the rest we all know because you probably saw The Mandalorian Season 2. So that's basically everything that I just want to talk about before the Book of Boba Fett comes out tomorrow. I hope this video can come out today. It might come out tomorrow, but I'm hoping that this video can come out today. Anyways, I've got a lot of editing to do. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy the Book of Boba Fett, and bye.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So be it, Jedi. Huh?